Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Talking with Coach Troy. Today, my special guest is a triathlon legend, Mr. Bruce Gennari. Bruce, how you doing?
Good. Doing great, Troy. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, thanks. So, thanks for speaking with me today, and it's great to have you here. So, you're located in Tennessee, Nashville area, right? And
Correct.
you and I go way back. You are one of the top age group triathletes over the years. And I'm just going to set the stage. Your background is swimming, and tell us a little bit about, gosh, what year was that? I forget the year now because it was a while back. But in Kona, didn't you come
hmm
out like towards the top of the field? Tell me.
I did. Well, it was actually 1997, first time I ever did Hawaii. I was actually first out, believe it or not, and this was back in the days when they were still putting the amateurs basically 50 meters behind the professionals because it protected their ability to win. They didn't want to get caught up in that fray. So, yeah, 1997. And just to be honest with you, when I got out of the water first, I really didn't even know. I just had no idea, or I just knew I was in a front pack with the professional swimmers, and I got out, and the only time I really actually was given confirmation that I was first out of the water when I was hitting the hot corner and running out, and the announcer said, well, there's the individual who was first out of the water. And that kind of gave me a little bit of juice probably for about the next 400 meters, and then I was back into the kind of the Kona doldrums. But yeah, it was great. And it was after that particular incident, getting out of the water first, I was kind of like, wow, maybe I have a little bit of potential here. And that's when I started searching for coaches that actually helped me, reach my full potential. And that's how I got in touch with you, was after that 97 Kona. So yeah, we've been together for a pretty good while.
Yeah, I remember I remember you got out of the water first that year, and I remember hearing the story how you were passed by a bunch of people throughout the course of the race, right? So you're like, yes,
Yeah, it was.
coach.
Yeah, Timothy Carlson was, and he still is a triathlon rider. And in the magazine, it said that I was, he gave me props for being first out of the water, but then he also said I was the most passed person on the course subsequently. So that didn't really sit well with me, because I actually took that quote and I put it on a piece of paper and I use it for motivation, and I taped it up on my mirror so I saw it every single day.
Yeah.
So he, it was just one of those things where you're like going, and listen, he put a great picture of me coming out of the water that Tony Svensson took back in the day. So, and I still have that, hanging up on my wall. So it was motivating, but then it was also humbling. And as well as I do that island is humbling, but it was both for me that day.
Yeah, and remember the old days of mass swim starts, right? I mean, that's certainly changed a lot over the years. So tell me, a swimmer of your caliber, first of all, what was your background with swimming? I'm curious, prior to your whole triathlon experience.
So I swam, obviously competitively when I was a teenager. And then in college, I swam for the University of Alabama. So I was always a middle distance freestyler. Unfortunately, I didn't possess those fast twitch muscles that the sprinters have. So, always first in, last out. So, I had a great career at Alabama, All-American. We won an SEC championship in 1987. And then after that, I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went down to Boca Raton, Florida, became an ocean lifeguard, basically a bum. And, I was sitting in a tower one day with a triathlon legend down in Florida, about a guy by the name of Bill Picciano, and he was 6'4", I was 6'4". We had the same shoe size. He let me borrow his bike. I biked from Boca Raton to Delray Beach and back, and just immediately fell in love.
Yep.
So after that, he was the one who kind of got me started in the sport. I started running, doing the Bud Light Sprint Series down there, trying to win the swim preem because it gave me free chicken and stuff like that. So, I mean, that, it started, humble beginnings, but then after that, I guess just like the sport itself, it just blew up. And in my mind, I was like, I'm always very competitive, and anything that I want to do it to the best of my ability. So it was kind of after that I started thinking about, well, hey, let's let's see how far this sport can take me and where it can take me. And then the rest is, as you say, is kind of history.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned the Bud Light series. You mean the Bud Light USTS series back in those days? Is that where? Yeah. Oh yeah. The Olympic distance.
Yes.
That all the
Yeah. Yeah.
coming in and that. What a great tour.
Yeah.
That was. What a great.
Oh yeah. It was fun. You know, and at the time I really didn't know, who the top line professionals were. I mean, they were saying names, but it really didn't dawn on me until after the fact that you start hearing, like Mark Allen, Dave Scott, and all these guys. And I'll never forget, the first time I ever heard a disc wheel, it was just like, wow, man, that's something that I really want to get, until you go to the bike store and you find out that it costs like $3,000 and on a lifeguard salary. You're like, nope, I'll be sticking with these spoked wheels right here. So,
well, if you remember, back in those days, you had J-disc, you had Unidisc. Remember the covers that you put over the spokes?
Yeah.
Back in those days?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, that was, that was something that I even used when I didn't have a disc up here. You would just cover up your 404s with that. And, nobody was the wiser, except for you. And, it's all, I think that the discs like that are a mental thing. It just makes you feel faster. Mentally, you just feel faster.
Yeah. Well, back in those days as well, the only people that had discs were the pros that were sponsored to have the discs because they were so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do you see age groupers riding disc wheels back in
the
90s.
Yeah. It was the Great White Buffalo, man. That's something that you wanted to. You were just hoping maybe to get in with some professional and get his scraps.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so swimming was obviously your forte, and you always got out of the water up front. And then you developed yourself into a really strong cyclist. Tell us a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was, I'm going to tell you, and I know I'm talking to you, but one of the things that really helped me become a stronger cyclist was the Spinnerville series, obviously. I mean, I had, some of the first Spinnervilles that came out with, like, Lee DePietro. I mean, this was back in the day when Spinnervilles 1, 2, and 3 were out just working on, aerobic capacity and something like that. And then, later on, I actually did a Spinnervilles video with you. I flew up into Baltimore and we did 13.0. We did Sufferfest, which, again, I still have nightmares about today. I think we shot for about.
That was appropriately named Tough Love because that was a tough.
Yeah, Tough Love. That was it. Yeah, because I remember I think we shot for 4 hours. I mean, it's a 3-hour video, but we shot for 4 hours because of retakes and stuff like that. And we were in. I think it was I can't remember the facility itself, but it was near the bay, and it was it had something to do with energy.
It was Baltimore Museum of Industry. That's what it was.
Yeah, and it was enclosed. There were no fans at all because of you were talking and you didn't want to hear that noise. And then there were the big bright lights. So I think I lost like 10 pounds in water weight. Right. And I remember that after that, I had to catch a flight to get back to Nashville. I didn't have a chance to shower, and I was going to jump in the bay. That was right there, and you're like going, no, that's probably not a good thing to do.
You don't want to jump in the Baltimore Inner Harbor.
Yeah. So, but to answer your question, how did I become a better cyclist was by using those videos because again. A lot of people back in the day didn't want to jump, on their trainers and train like that. But to me, mentally, if you listen to those videos and you went hard when you were supposed to go hard, and when you soft pedal when you needed to soft pedal, and you followed those videos to a T, so that's what I probably did during the week, Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, that's when I would go out there and, you would have me do my group ride. Obviously, there were specific things that I would be doing, but it's all about, it was all about, making a commitment to becoming a better cyclist. So, obviously the aerobic capacity that I carried over from swimming helped in that vein, but, cycling is a different animal unto itself. And it just, you just have to take that, the programs that you were giving me and sticking to them and doing, just doing the work. And that's how I became a better cyclist. Yeah.
Isn't that what it's all about? It's just doing the work, like the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Hard work pays off, period. And that's Yeah, that's
Right.
it.
There are no shortcuts, and that's just it. Again, and even today, you see how much faster triathletes are getting. Look how much faster swimmers are getting. And even though the training techniques are obviously training, and so are nutritional aspects. I mean, I go back to the University of Alabama now, and I look at the facilities that they have. Troy, we were lucky if we had a water bottle at the end of our lane. I mean, if we wanted to get water, we had to jump out of the pool and go over to a water spigot.
Right.
These days, athletes these days, they have tailored weight programs. They have tailored nutritional programs. I mean, the swimmers at Alabama, they get out of the water now. They have customized smoothies that they drink according to their body makeup. I mean, the athletes these days compared to what we were doing back in the day, there really is no comparison. So there's no real, guessing as to why they're getting that much faster. I mean, look at what the American record is in the 500 free. I mean, you had a kid the other day from the University of Florida go like 4:06, which just blows my mind. And you had another Florida there go 14:12 in the mile. I mean, that's unheard of. So yeah, but you got to do the work though. There's no shortcuts here. If you want to become a top-notch level athlete, you got to do the work. I mean, you got to have that Mamba mentality, and that's one of the things that I really loved about, Kobe Bryant. And that's one of the things that I don't know if you're watching it, but the Michael Jordan series, is on right now, and that's something that, you hear about Michael Jordan, how he was pissing off all of his teammates because he was being such, he's being so vocal during their workouts, and that's what I love about that, guys like that, doing the work to make sure that's how you become a champion.
Yeah. So your career in triathlon progressed, and if I remember, didn't you win a national championship? But you were the national age group champion at one point.
I did, yeah. 2001 at Coeur d'Alene. It was one of those days where everything just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
And you really don't know because of staggered starts, who is winning, who isn't winning. All I know is at the time in my age group, I was beating Pete Kane, and that's really all I wanted to do.
Yeah,
because Pete's a competitor. He's like me, and all I was trying to do is keep Pete behind me. And because, Pete was pushing me so hard, and I saw him on the run. You see him on turnarounds, and you're doing everything that you can just to keep ahead of him. I got to credit Pete Kane for allowing me to win that national championship in 2001.
Yeah, good competition always pushes you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Honest, for sure. So that was 2001, but you also continue to race. And I always remember seeing, because I sort of retired, got back in, I did Ironman again, and I guess at 41, almost 10 years ago now. And, but had these periods of time where I stayed out of it. But it seems like you continued to race at a really high level in the age group. And I guess you just, retired about 2 years ago, or how long ago?
2018. So it was Gulf Coast half Ironman, 2018. I was on like the 23rd floor of a really nice townhome overlooking the ocean. Sun was going down, and Troy, I had an epiphany. It was something that was in the back of my mind as to, after so many years of training and being at such a competitive level, I'm not going to lie to you, the grind wears on you a little bit. And in the back of your mind, you start becoming a little, the motivation wanes a little bit. My kids were, growing up and in sports, and it was kind of, their time. And I was always toying with the idea or struggling with the question of, when is it time? When is it time to kind of hang it up? And,
right.
It just happened. I didn't even tell my wife that I was doing it. I was sitting on the deck and all of a sudden, or the deck overlooking sun going down. And I'm thinking, you know what? This is like, I think this is somebody giving me a message. The sun's going down on the ocean. And
right.
Maybe this is somebody saying that it's time for the sun to go down on your career. So I just went out there on Facebook and just made a post saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. I took a picture of the sun and I said, this will be my last race. And it's funny because after I posted that long thing and I hit send, not only did I kind of have there was a sense of like relief, like this is it. But then my wife came in and she goes, what is this? And I go, it's exactly what you think it is. It's me. This is my last race. And, after this, I'll figure out what I'm going to do, but this is it. So, and that's how it came about.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like when you have that feeling and it's no longer in your heart to go out there and do the work that you need to do. It's time to just let it. So that's good, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you had a really, really great career. Now the question is, you see a lot of this, is there a comeback in your future?
That's a really good question. And, I'll be honest with you. I was thinking about coming back when I hit a new age group, which would have been 55, 59. And I'm still, could I still do that? Sure. It's May. It would probably take, 6 months of good, solid work to get back to a competitive level. So I'm toying with the idea, but it's not pressing. I got to be honest. I took up golf. I'm getting a little better at golf. It's almost like going out for a bike ride for 4 hours when you're playing 18 holes. It's a little less stressful. It's way more frustrating. There are way more swear words that are said during a game of golf than there are on a 4-hour ride. I'm not going to lie to you. But I think at some particular point in time, I will come back. I still have all my gear. My bike has still been sitting on a smart trainer for 2 years now. I do go in there every now and then and take the dust off of it. I'm looking at it going, one of these days you're going to have to jump back on. I know I have several friends in the Nashville area that, aren't you bored yet? Isn't it time to come back? Because, you get into some really good training groups. And that was the best thing about triathlon that I really, listen, I love the competition and I love going out there and seeing what you can do against yourself. But it's those friendships that you forged, not only locally, but I have friends that, that are all around the country that, I still, talk to via Facebook. I still, every now and then I'll talk with Pete Kane, Rob Skaggs. Look at Robert Skaggs. That guy's still killing it, these days. But, Donnie Forsyth up in Raleigh, North Carolina, all these guys pushed me. Barry Knight's another one in Paducah, Kentucky. All these guys pushed me to be who I was, and I still have all those friendships. So that's one of the things that I really miss about the sport of triathlon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Your competitors become your friends in a way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
That pure respect. Well, Bruce, thanks so much for being on my show here. I really appreciate it. It's good to connect with you again. And
sure.
We'll be looking for you. I'm sure once you get back into the game, we'll see your name at the top of the results.
Well, thanks, Troy. I appreciate it. And it was I appreciate you bringing me on the show. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for checking in, and be sure to check back again. In the meantime, train safe and train smart.